to this webinar on behalf of the city of Ostrava. Ostrava is a proud member in this thematic partnership on green cities within the urban agenda for the EU. This webinar will provide insights into the broader use of cost-benefit analysis for public-private partnerships. It will show how to express the benefits of green infrastructure. It will provide some illustrative examples, and it should also touch the important topic of how to communicate the effects of green infrastructure measures. The webinar will consist of two parts. The first part will be the webinar proper, a lecture, and the other part, the last 30 minutes, will be a discussion. So please prepare your questions on the lecturers for the last half an hour. Let me shortly introduce the lecturers. Mr. Machach, Dr. Machach, is a lecturer and researcher from of Social and Economic Studies at the University in Ústí nad Labem. He has extensive experiences in international networks and projects. He specializes in societal benefits linked to environmental initiatives, and he teaches on the economic evaluation of natural assets. The other lecturer, or his co-lecturer, is Mr. Dr. Häkelä, a researcher from the same university who focuses on applied economics in the field of environment, on the benefits and costs of green infrastructure, and he also does some research on the evaluation of measures such as green rooftops on our community gardens. So I will now leave the floor to the lecturer. Mr. Machach, we can begin.
Thank you very much, Dusan, for invitation us, and it's my honor to give you, I hope, inspirative lecture today concerning on economic evaluation of green and blue infrastructure and how we can use the results of such analysis for implementing of measures and developing of some innovative schemes to finance this infrastructure. Maybe to add more about us, me and Marek Häkelä, which is today co-lecturer of this webinar. We are both environmental economists focusing on green and blue infrastructure, adaptation of climate change, and especially we focus on developing the concept of ecosystem services and the practical usage of this concept for development of cities, implementing of different adaptation measures, implementing nature-based solution in cities, but also in landscape. And both of them, we are also focusing on water management and flood risk management. We applied in our research many different methods, starting cost-benefit analysis, which will be today presented, but we also trying to explore preferences of residents in cities regarding the nature-based solution or elements of green and blue infrastructure using different methods such as choice experiment, and we also trying to increase the awareness about green and blue infrastructure, about measures which could be implemented using, for example, development of serious games which are used for different purposes. We are both members of Institute for Economic and Environmental Policy, which is almost 30 years old institute, originally located in Prague, but a few years ago moved from Prague to regional university in Ústí nad Labem. And besides nature-based solution and adaptation to measures, our colleague focus on another aspects on environmental protection and issues such as waste management, sustainable urban mobility, or energy, and air protection. Currently, we are focusing a lot on topics of ongoing webinar within 4 international projects. In 2 of them, we are especially focusing on implementing new policy instruments for implementing green and blue infrastructure or nature-based solution within Horizon projects, but we are also supporting to Interreg Central Europe, focusing also on adaptation to climate change. But I would like to move to the topic of today's presentation, in which we would like to make you aware with the concept of ecosystem services, some baseline to have the same knowledge at the beginning. Then we move to cost-benefit analysis. Some basic information how it could be assessed, different types of measures. Then I moved over to Marek to present some case studies in which we implemented the cost-benefit analysis, and then with me we continue with usage of cost-benefit analysis for different purposes and how they can support the implementation of different elements in cities, and how we can use it also for public partnership as part of the name of this webinar. But I would like to start with something much more elementary, that we are environmental economists. What this means that we apply classical economic methods to the field of environmental protection, that we are trying to analyze how resources are allocated among competitive use in the environmental field, what are the preferences, and we are also trying to develop policy instruments which try to solve problems with market failure or government's failure, and so on. And all of our results are connected with anthropocentric point of view. This means that we are not ecologists, we are environmental economists. We are not too much focusing on internal value of nature, but we are trying to understand how the people behave in the context. So we are covering everything what the people are possible to take in account by decision making. What is very positive that almost in each city we can find some elements of a green and blue infrastructure. That currently there is a lot of awareness about these measures and elements. When I started more than 10 years ago with the topic of adaptation to climate change and so on, I spent a lot of time with describing what is blue and green infrastructure, and why it's important to support these measures and implement them. So currently, this is very positive state, and what is also positive that people are aware about the benefits which we are obtaining for ecosystems, which are called as ecosystem services. It's quite new terms in Europe by people, but in the field of research, it's almost more than 50 years old concept, but currently more and more implemented in practice. And it's important that thanks this concept, there is some linkage between nature and social science, and we are trying, thanks this concept, to cooperate and to find the same word for these benefits, which leads to increasing of human well-being, not only in cities, but also in landscape and so on. The concept of ecosystem services is currently research and developed by many researchers in the world. We can find different classification of ecosystem services, such as Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, which was one of the first international classification. Later on, you can find TEEP or Common International Classification of Ecosystem Services. It's theoretical. What is important that usually we understand under the ecosystem services four categories. The first one is connected with resources we are obtaining from ecosystems such as food provision, wood provision, or biomass or water provision. Then the second category is connected with regulation services, which means that thanks to nature, not only in cities, we achieve some level of noise reduction. It's connected also with carbon capture or with air quality improvement or microclimate regulation or erosion regulation. Then the other category which is taken into account is culture ecosystem services, which are connected with visual or aesthetic experience and the possibilities to spend time outside, to meet people, have social interaction between people, and also to learn indirectly about functions, how it works in the nature, and so on. And then we have a last categories, which is by some of the categorization called supporting, or by others habitat ecosystem services or function, which is connected with the supporting of the three before mentioned categories, and it's connected with nutrient cycle, water cycle, soil production, and all ecosystem services which are important for the other three groups. And we can also find another types of benefit which we obtain, such as increasing property value, or increasing biodiversity and biodiversity support, and so on. So this is a lot of what we achieve from the nature, and we should protect it or develop to increase the well-being in cities. Regarding the blue and green infrastructure, we can see positive change in past few years. That the awareness is increasing about elements. We are able to plan and also implement the measure in proper way, that they are providing these services and benefits we achieve and we would like to get. Each year, the knowledge and experience of designers is increasing. They learn a lot of from mistakes, previous mistakes, and so on. And also there are a lot of financial subsidies to implement the measures. We can see in many cities a lot of measures in public areas, but also on private buildings and so on, such green roofs, such new planted trees in streets, in public, in squares, and also solving the asphalt parking slots, changing to more impermeable surface. But still, in the same cities from which this picture are taken, we can find also same situation, but almost without any green and blue elements. And what is the reason that still the measures are implemented only in limited scale, because a lot of problem persist. And maybe this is one of the reason how how economic assessment could help us to support the implementation in bigger amount. We can support the communication because to present all the benefits which are connected with the measures, it's take a lot of time, and mostly it's very boring to name all of services which you get, and there is also no concentration on this, and still the people know that the green elements provide a lot of benefits, but still they are not able to understand all benefits which are connected with the measures. And there are also measures which by which it's very hard to explain what are the benefits, and they are not so nice, such as trees on the street or green roofs and so on, by which you can try to communicate the benefits of measures, but it's very hard to do it by usual PR activities such sharing photos or trying to provide information how it works. What are other problems? Mostly the provision of ecosystems are for free. You pay not for the provision, as for example, in case of public transport, US city pay a lot of money for running the public transport, but by ecosystem services you pay sometimes some implementation cost or some maintenance, but you don't pay directly by the provision of ecosystem services, and this is the reason why nobody cares about it. There is no value which could be taken in account by decision making, and also this is the reason why the benefits are very often underestimated, because without any monetary value, then it's not so easy to use it for decision making. And what is under problem is the willingness to implement the measures on private land, because usually there is low motivation to do it, something what not provide you some profit, and it's the profit is more in non-monetary value for entry public, but not for you as the owner of the land or owner of the business. And sometimes also when you implement something, then you lose of profits from other activities which you cannot do it. Within our work, we are trying to collect some precondition for successful NBS implementation. Some of them are only technical aspects, such as to plan and also implement measures in high quality that the benefits are achieved. But there are other preconditions which are partly or fully connected with economic or financial assessment and economic situation of the city. You need the stakeholders who are able to finance the measures, the implementation, who are willingness to cooperate with you, provide the land or agree with implementation of some measures near the home and so on. You need also tackle with legislation and institutional environment, which economic assessment could not do it directly in case of some concrete measures, but it could support changes in legislation. For example, currently we are trying to change legislation in the Czech Republic connected with rainwater management, because currently, for example, almost all rainwater which goes to sewage system is without any payment, but it's at the end it's necessary to clean the water when it's some sewage system in which goes this rainwater together with grey water, and it's not for free, but the legislation currently limit some payment for it. And we are trying to change it thanks economic assessment and arguments. It's also about interdisciplinary cooperation to take in account preferences of general public and trying to motivate different stakeholders to cooperate and to find appropriate solution for each places in which we would like to implement some measures. If we switch to economic point of view, we have two main stakeholders. We have the private peoples who achieve by implementation of a measure some private benefits, and part of them is transferred also to public, entire public. Some of them is in overlapping that both groups are profit from measures. But totally we get some society-wide benefits. But if we are looking on the measures from private point of view, then if you implement some measures, you are usually provided some positive externalities, because part or mostly the biggest part of the benefits which you achieve by implementation of measures, such as different types of ecosystem services, are not benefits which you beneficiary, but are benefits which are important for the whole society. And these positive externalities are usually not covered by the society, to the owner, to the people who implement the measures. So this is one of the problem, that the measures are not so implemented in such amount as it will be social optimum. And this leads to the basic questions: how to get an economic argument to change the situation and to support the implementation. We are trying to solve this problem by economic assessment using cost-benefit analysis, which is similar to financial analysis, that you are trying to calculate all cost and benefits and compare them. But in case of cost-benefit analysis, we are taking in account also the indirect benefits and costs, or benefits and costs which are primarily not in monetary values, such as reducing of air pollution, or I don't know, increasing of microclimate regulation, which are ecosystem services which positively influence the well-being, but are not express, are not financial profit of any of the stakeholder, but influence the well-being. So we go beyond the market prices, which you can find by some of the ecosystem services, and to achieve the possibilities to compare the benefits and cost of measures. There is some process starting with identification and ending with some conclusion, which I would like to very quickly go through to raise your awareness about this process. If you would like to know more about this process, there is available our methodology, which we developed together with Marek and other colleagues, maybe 3 or 4, maybe now 5 years ago, which contain all information which I today presented about the method itself. What is important at the beginning to proper define the project itself? Why it's important? Because there is big differences whether you take only the place on which the element is created or implemented, or whether you also take in account all the neighborhoods and take in account also the people from neighborhoods which are possible users of the measures and so on. So this is very important to define the area which is influenced by the measures positively, but also negatively, and it's also necessary to set the time frame. How many years you would like to, how many years you would like to put in the analysis, and what is the time horizon. Then the next step is identification of all possible costs and benefits, qualitative. So you try to learn what is affected positively, what is affected negatively, and we are also trying to scale it, whether it's some important impact or less important impact, and during the next step, which is valuation, to cover at least all most important aspects, positive and negative, and also trying as much as possible. But as we see later by examples from Marek, that it's not possible to cover everything. Then there are possibilities to implement a lot of valuation methods beside market prices, which is the most easiest way how to put value, monetary value to some ecosystem services. But usually you can do it mostly only by food production or some wood production and so on. But by another ecosystem services, you need implement much more complicated, sophisticated methods, such as hedonic price in case of influencing the value of property rights, which is positively influenced in case that you are implementing green and blue elements in the neighborhood of the building, or by choice experiment, if you would like to take into account some willingness to pay of residents or another methods. Part of them, which we are usually used, will be presented by Marek a few minutes later. Then after this valuation of individual costs and benefits, it's necessary to put it together in the time scale, and as it's very similar to your bank account. If you put some money to a bank account, you suspect that your money will be discounted by some interest rate in the future. So we are also taking in account the value of money in the time and use some methods of discounting. Either the most usual used methods, such as net present value, that all benefit and costs are taken from the future to the current time and expressed in current level of monetary level. So we use some discounting, or there are another methods which could be used. And at the end, it's not possible to say that we have this and this results. It's also necessary to do some sensitive analysis to test whether there is some elements, such as ecosystem services, where could be some misinterpretation or some complication with valuation and could influence the result lot of. So it's necessary to do sensitive analysis to test whether there is not some mistakes in the valuation. And it's also necessary to take into account all other ecosystem services, benefits, costs, which you are not able to evaluate in monetary value, to discuss whether it influences your results positively or negatively. And we are currently moving to methods how we can value these ecosystem services in monetary value. And I put word to Marek.
Thank you, Jan. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are still there. And so let's move on a little bit more, maybe practical part of cost benefit analysis. Can you just go one slide? Yeah, thank you. So Jan, thank you for introducing the concept of ecosystem assessment and cost benefit analysis in general. So now I want to take a step a little bit further and discuss with you how we can translate the benefits that you can see on the picture into the monetary terms. And this is at the right heart of what we as environmental economists try to do. It's about showing that the benefits of nature can be measured in a ways that everyone understands. Like euros and cents. Expressing the monetary value of nature might sound a little bit complex, but I assure you it's not a rocket science. It's actually quite intuitive once we break it down. So now I just would like to a little bit break it down with you and show you how we can value the individual benefits in monetary terms when we do the cost benefit analysis. So let's start with the first benefit that we are usually able to monetize, and that is rainwater runoff management. And as we all are aware, the greenery can manage the rainwater runoff by capturing and evaporating some of the rainwater, right? So this benefit can be valued in economic terms as a saving in wastewater treatment cost at a sewage treatment plant. How? The logic that we use is quite simple. Less water from the rooftop, rain garden, or the trees on the street runs off into the sewer, into the pipes, and therefore less water goes into the treatment plant. And we usually know the data about the retention capacity of the different types of greenery. We use the available studies that are out there. There are many of them. And we use the prices for wastewater treatment that are always available for different locations. And we can use them. We can use the simple mathematics to calculate the annual benefit of certain type of greenery simply by multiplying the amount of water that is retained by the solution and with the market price or cost for wastewater treatment, and we get the cost savings in this wastewater treatment plant. So this is how we usually calculate the rainwater runoff regulation provided by different type of greenery. So we can move on, and there's another quite popular benefit or ecosystem services that are related to greenery, and that is air quality improvement. This benefit is related to the ecosystem services due to the ability of greenery to absorb different air pollution, and there are many studies again about the pollutant removal capacity of greenery. And if we know how much the air pollutants can be captured by particular type of greenery, we can use the prices of similar measures. For example, technical measures such as investment into more environmental friendly technology, and we can use this cost for the similar measure that has a similar effect to express the benefit related to air quality improvement in monetary terms. And this is quite a common method or way how different ecosystem services can be monetized when the value itself it's not available. Simply put, you can use the price of technical measure that has almost the same or very similar effect, such as the greenery, and this method is called substitute cost method. So you express the greenery benefit using the cost of technical measure with the same effect. And this could be the same method what we use also for the monetarization of carbon sequestration, and you can use the cost of technical measure with the same effect, or just multiply the CO2 absorption capacity for evaluated type of greenery and market price of emission allowance from EU ETS. And you get monetary value for CO2 sequestration benefit related to different type of greenery, and this is also quite intuitive as there are available data about CO2 absorption capacity of different type of green and blue infrastructure, and there are also really available prices of carbon dioxide equivalent. So yeah, we can move on. Here is another example of benefit that we can monetize, that we can commonly monetize, and I would like to show how. The benefit is related to energy savings on heating and cooling. That having said, by having greenery, such as, for example, green roof or green wall, you can talk about gaining cost savings due to the additional insulation on building, and this resulting in reduced energy consumption. And again, there are a number of studies about how green roof, for example, can insulate the building, and by using market prices for heating and cooling, you can monetize this benefit in terms of lower heating cooling bill at the end of the year. So this is how we usually monetize this benefit. It's just the one method how we can do it. There are also another methods that you can use. I'm presenting just the most easy to understand and common ways how we can monetize different benefits. Similarly, you can monetize the interior noise reduction that is usually related again to the green roof installation. When if you install the green roof, you can improve your acoustic quality of the building, and there are available studies about measuring the positive effects on the building, and you can use the market prices of technical insulation with a similar effect as the green roof has. And again, installing the green roof causes that you get cost savings on noise insulation if you make it through the technical solution, not with the green roof. Again, we are still with a green roof example. You can monetize the increased insulation lifespan on the roof using the price of insulation replacement, and you can monetize this benefit through the cost savings on the installation replacement. And this is one of the most important benefit, maybe the most important one in terms of cost-benefit analysis that we do. This is aesthetic improvement that is due to the enhancement on visual attractiveness of the place where different type of green and blue infrastructure is implemented. From the economic point of view, we know that people are willing to pay to live close to the greenery, and we can see higher property prices and rents if you live or work close to greenery. For example, there are a number of studies showing that the same types of buildings in similar locations have different prices depending on whether they have or not have a green roof. This means that buildings with a green roof usually have a higher price or a higher rent. Typically, these higher prices ranges from 1 to 15% when comparing to prices of the building with and without the green roof. Then all you can do is to take the property prices or rents in a given location where the greenery is installed and monetize this benefit through the percentage increase to get monetary value of how greenery can increase property value of rent in the area. Yeah. Next slide, please. Here we go. I just wanted to show you some basic logic that is behind our minds when we do monetary valuation of individual ecosystem services. And now I would like to show you 4 case studies when we applied where we apply the cost-benefit analysis. So I want to show you some numbers and see if it makes sense to implement these measures and see if there are some economic arguments that are related to the practical real-life implementation of green and blue infrastructure. So let's have a look on the case studies. So first, amazing nature-based solution, an example of green and blue infrastructure implemented in one of the Czech cities in Roudnice nad Labem is rain garden that you can see on the picture. The rain garden is situated in one of the middle-sized Czech city. It covers area more than 70 square meters and was a part of overall revitalization project of one of the street in the city. And the main purpose is to collect the rainwater from the road and from the surrounding areas and collect it into the green part of the street that is filled by the gravel substrate and with different types of plants. And we can move on, move to the next slide. Jan, please help me. Go to the next slide. Oh, are you still there? I want to show some cost-benefit analysis here. Here you can see the table with all the benefits that are relevant for the rain garden that people can obtain due to the existence of this new measure. You can see if there are not just 1 or 2 ecosystem services related to rain garden. There are many of them, and you can see the symbol of euro coin placed on the benefits that we were able to monetize using the logic that I was showing to and explaining to previously. And you can see that we were able to monetize the water retention and benefits related to runoff reduction. We are able to monetize using the way I was speaking about the air quality regulation, the carbon sequestration, and also the increased value of surrounding properties. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Sorry, my slides are a little bit late. I cannot see it's moving. Okay, can you confirm to me that you can hear me correctly and everything is fine?
Yeah, by me, yes, but maybe the problem with the internet connection is by me. I don't know what is happening.
No, I can see the slides. I'm just hoping that you can hear me clearer and I can move on. So yeah, let's do it. So this is the simplified, but the main outputs that we have from the cost-benefit analysis. If we monetize all the benefits, the benefits in 25. Yeah, thank you for confirmation that you can see me and hear me. That's great. So again, here you can see the results of cost-benefit analysis of the rain garden of the first case study, where the cost and benefits are compared over a 25-year time horizon. So the results show that the total benefits exceeds 18,000 euros in 25 years, outweighing the costs, which were almost 15,000 euros in 25 years. And by saying that, from the economic perspective of monetary valorization, for every €1 invested, we can get €1 back plus additional 20 euro cents. So the return of the investment is just 1 year, meaning all the costs are outweighed by the benefits immediately in the first year. So it makes, from the economic point of view, sense to implement this measure. So this was the first case study that I would like to show, and this is another case study that we applied the cost-benefit analysis into, and this is a green roof that is located in one of the building of our university in Ústí nad Labem. Jan was the main person that is behind the implementation of this roof. Congratulations to him. This room is an extensive room with a substrate thickness about 10 centimeters and mostly with the saddle plants. And
no, to je nepříjemný název, moc se mi to nelíbí.
And what is quite interesting about this roof, that it has a temperature sensors on, and thanks to them we found out that in the summer there is a difference of up to 40 degrees Celsius between the temperature on the green roof and the temperature on the part of the roof where there is no green roof, but where is a PVC quite standard roofing option. So 40 degrees Celsius difference between the green roof and non-green roof. And let's have a look on the benefits. The air quality regulation is not the only one benefit. There are also different types of benefits, and we were able to monetize the rainwater regulation, to monetize the noise reduction related to noise insulation capacity of green roof, and also the energy savings and extension of insulation lifetime, as you can see using the symbol. And here it is again. Monetizing the benefits it makes more than 9,000, almost 10,000 euros in 25 years, and every €1 invested into the green roof makes additional 30 cents. Speaking about social benefits and speaking about cumulative, investment in 25 years, that is within the standard lifetime of the green roof, and the return of investment was 14 years. So these are the results of cost-benefit analysis that we can, show to people when monetizing the values of green roofs. And here we go, and we moved into the third case study, and that is greening of the tram line in Ostrava. As you all are aware, if you have train rails, you can usually have the asphalt or concrete between the rails, but in Ostrava they decided to make these things quite differently, and just planted dry loving vegetations between the rails as a part of the revitalization project of the street and the tram line, in order to reduce the noise and the dust from the train traffic, and to also to install one of the adaptation measure to lower the temperature in the street during the summer. And we also try to monetize the benefits that we were able to do, and we monetize the similar benefits as for the previous type of greenery, for the rain garden and for the green roof. And the important benefit was also related to increase property values that are related to the buildings that are just next to the tram line. So again, here are the final results of cost-benefit analysis. We can see that the cost in 25 years are more than 400,000 euros. And if we compare these costs with the benefits in 25 years, the benefits are almost 700,000 euros related to monetized ecosystem services, and every €1 invested brings us back additional 50 cents due to the installation of this solution. And again, I'm not just speaking about the financial benefits, I'm speaking about social benefits that are related to having greenery and to having this positive externality being installed in a public space. So this is my last case study that I would like to share with you. And this is the Bračice case. Bračice is a very small city, or rather the village city in Czech Republic. And this city is quite an example, or might be quite an example for another small cities in Czech Republic, where if you look under the left picture, this is quite a common situation for a very big part of the small villages in Czech Republic, where right in the middle of the city you have typically the pond from maybe socialistic era of the life that has almost no function at all. It's not very representative as a solution to have in the middle of the village or the city, and this is, in my eyes, this can be easily called brownfield. And in Bračice, they decided to transform this old unused pond into the retention pond, and to make it example for another cities, small cities with a similar problem. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so they repaired the pond. They make a revitalization of the pond and its surrounding area. And as a result, this pond retains and stores stormwater runoff from more than 2.5 hectare area, and brings all the rainwater from the roofs that are around. And as a result, the site aesthetics was enhanced, and it became a very interesting place for recreation for the whole village and also for the surrounding cities. So we were able to monetize few of the benefits this solution provide, including the recreation functions, aesthetic value, and the value of surrounding properties. And I think this is my last slide summarizing the cost-benefit analysis results for this retention pond in Bračice, showing that if you invest €1, you get 1 euro and 20 cents back related to having this solution. And you can see that benefits in 25 years, if you summarize them, they exceed the €500,000 in 25 years. And yeah, we can move on. I think I'm almost done. Yeah, so this was my introduction into how we can monetize a few of the benefits. And I would like to mention that there are multiple ways how we can do it. And now I would like to, giving the floor to Jan, and with a €1 million question to him, how we can use these findings and these economic arguments for better communication and for having a better policy instrument. So thank you.
Yeah. Before this, I would like to mention last method which we usually use for economic evaluation, which is called choice experiment, in which we are trying to explore the preferences of inhabitants in the context of more different measures which could be implemented. For example, in this case of streets, that we are using some form of experiment that we are creating combination of different combination of measures which could be implemented in measures and in a street and on the street, and we are asking people multiple times by different combination what they prefer and what's less prefer, and we can connect it, for example, with price of the rent or price of the houses or level of the ownership taxes or taxes connected with the building and so on. So it depends on some payment vehicle. We call this type of money which is connected with the experiment, and we are testing, for example, also what the people would like to, not only what it brings, but what the people and how the people understand the measures and what are the direct preferences of the people. Our latest experiment we did with Marek bring us some new information that, for example, in Prague or also in some middle-sized Czech city, Litoměřice, the people like green facade or grassy strips, but not too much green roofs, which takes more as in negative terms. But back to the main question, how to use the economic assessment. As I mentioned, usually some economic argument is missing by decision making, so we can use it for this case as a justification of projects to provide argument what is the reason that we need to pay a lot of money for some ponds or green roofs or greening of tram line, and we can use it for communication in different phases of implementation of measures. In one of our previous project, we study what is the right time for starting the communication, and in which phase we should inform the people. And it's not possible to say it general, but it depends on the type of measures. But usually it's important to communicate about the measures from the initial idea that you would like to change something in the area, and to communicate it, and trying to get feedback also from the people from the neighborhood, but also in this case to provide information what it brings, what the measure brings, and such economic valuation could be one argument how to present the additional benefits connected with this green and blue elements. And the second usage of this results could be used by development of policy instruments supporting green and blue infrastructure. Generally, we can speak about many types of policy instruments. Some of them are connected with more legislation or regulation. Some of them are more social cultural instruments. But if we speak about economic value and so on, we can use it for policy instruments which are connected with some motivation of the ownership of the owners to implement the measures, such as subsidies or charges, taxes, tradable development rights, or generally we can call it as payment for ecosystem services, which is the topic which I would like to present at the end of this webinar to conclude this webinar. In case of economic policy instruments, the main aim is to create an incentive to change the current behavior of the owners or people to promote, provide them incentive to act, to change the behavior, to change for a passive attitude to elements, to more active, to provide them some money, not only in form of subsidies, but also from another types of money, as for example payment for ecosystem services. So to connect the payment directly with the ecosystem services which are provided by the people who or by the company or by the state who implement the measures. Usually we have by these payments two parts. We have the service provider, who is the side who implement the measures, and thanks the measures provide some additional benefits to entire public, which I called previously as positive externalities, or we called as different types of ecosystem services presented by Marek in case of case studies. And we have the second side, which are the beneficiaries, which are mostly residents of cities, but could be also another stakeholders, which are either the buyer who provide directly the money to the provider, or it could be connected with some combination of compensation from the state or local government to the provider, and there are a lot of different systems, models which you can find. There are two general models. One is connected with the government payment, that it's type of subsidies we know, but it could be more connected with the ecosystem services and valuation of this ecosystem services. But we can find also a lot of non-government payments which are directly paid by the beneficiaries without any contribution of the state or local governments and so on. I prepare some examples of payments which are known. You can find a lot of information about carbon storage or carbon offset that, for example, owners of forests are supported by companies which invest in the forest in form of carbon offset that they pay for in this form, pay for CO2 emission they created from their business. We can also find another example, such as in France, when farmers are compensated for non-using chemical fertilization, which brings higher quality of water and saves a lot of money for providing drinking water or cleaning the water from the landscape to drinking water. We could find also a lot of examples connected with flood protection, that parties who implement measures are compensate in case of from increasing in the property values, that for example the beneficiaries which are thanks the flood protection measures saving from potential flooding are paying some part of the increasing of property values to the provider, or it could be part of property taxes or taxes from buildings, or it's possible also to run some payments based on tradable development rights, that if one part of the area is used, for example, in establishing borders which has higher capacity of water storage in case of flooding, the other part of flood paying could be used for new housing or new development of the cities, and then the owner of the former floodplain provides some money to the party who develop the polder, because then the party profits by the change of possibilities to build some building on previous floodplains. We can focus more on green and blue infrastructure in cities. Not only for recreation, we can find a lot of examples of parks, urban parks, which are operating for private monies, which are collected from residents, partly, for example, from culture events which are organized in the parks and are paid, and the money which are collected from these events are invested back to the parks, which are usually, in case of no event, for free. And then this could be the business how such bigger green areas should be supported financially. But you can also find only parks which are connected with some refreshments part and the profits from refreshment parts, it's also invested back to the park and maintenance of the park. There is, you can find also a lot of example in the world when money were collected from the increase of property value of the buildings in neighborhoods. Also either in case of increasing the taxes, or usually saying that you profits and you are in charge to compensate the people who support you, who support the increase of the property value. And we can speak a lot of also about the concept of urban district, which is also which could be also presented as a case of payment for ecosystem services. And at the end, I prepare one example which I like mostly. It's not new case study. It's from the United States, from city Napa, in which was many times affected by flooding, and only the flooding between 1961 and 1997, there were damages more than 500 millions of dollars, and there was idea to revitalization of the Napa River, and in the concept of living river. And yeah, there was a lot of buildings removed and created new parks with very huge floodplain, which was able to protect the whole city in case of flooding. It was connected with 400 millions of dollars, which was part of the previous damages. But what is unique, that they created some bypass which provide the additional water retention in case of flooding, which usually in case that there is no flooding is used as a city park, and then in case of increasing the level of water in the river, there is the water overflow the bank and goes to the area. And there is case of this payment for ecosystem services that part of them was directly paid by the state, but the rest was paid by the residents in form of increasing taxes about 1% more for next 20 years. So they compensate the decreasing of flood damages in the future by directly by residents which use the area or live in the area. There are lot of methods how to create it. One of them is also by education, and this is one of our ideas, that we are trying also educate the people that something such as payment for ecosystem services, it's possible to do it, because usually the people like subsidies and everything is connected with subsidies, but this is not the sustainable solution. So we are trying to present that integrating residents or other stakeholders could be much more better option than using only state subsidies, which are mostly connected with a lot of bureaucracy and other troubles, as you know. To conclude, economic assessment should be part of the project, because it helps you by communication, it support implementation of measures, and it could be also one of the idea to change the business behind the implementation of measures, from applying for only for subsidies, state subsidies, to find sources from another financing, funding from another sources, such as directly from residents or people who or parts subjects who who benefit from the measures. Yeah, and this is my conclusion. And if you would like to know more, we are trying to publish a lot of about assessment and about different type of policy instruments. So you can find part of the ideas which we presented today with Marek in books or in methodologies, but you can also ask us now about everything what was not clear and what you would like to learn from us.
Thank you. Thank you both for your incredible, generous presentations. We really enjoyed all your also the background theory and the works, of course, in practice and case studies. And I'm sure that our audience has enjoyed that too. We don't have a lot of time until the end of the meeting, but we would like now to open the floor for if there are any questions that have been nurtured throughout the presentations. Now is the time to address them to our wonderful guest lecturers. Of course, I mean, it was also great that you referred at the end of your presentation on the alternative innovative financing ideas and types that can be connected to the cost-benefit analysis process. And we saw that a week ago we had a dedicated webinar about innovative financing schemes. So I think like these two presentations, these two webinars are kind of coupling each other. So especially for the funding activities that our Greening Cities Partnership is preparing and implementing, this is I think it's a very intuitive and rich presentations. Are there any questions from the audience that would like to address to our lecturers? I have, for example, I have like one question. I mean, regarding and because you talked about the public-private partnerships, and this is I think the focus of the today's discussion. What do you think are the most, let's say, significant challenges that the cities and municipalities, in your experience, are facing when integrating those cost-benefit analysis into the public-private partnerships for green infrastructure? Do you see any issues or problems or challenges or obstacles for this in this kind of process?
Yeah, I see two main obstacles. The first one is that subsidies are existing, and usually the cities prefer to use money from the state or from EU funding, which is very easy to apply if you have experience. And yeah, there is the problem to change the philosophy to trying to find an additional sources. So this is the first fundamental, which you need some support from politicians to change the business, how you would like to invest the measure. But I can find also in the Czech Republic a lot of positive examples in which the mayors or the politician decision makers change the attitude to implementation of measures. And the second one is that if you would like to implement the concept of payment of ecosystem services, and you would like to trying to push the beneficiaries to contribute to implementation of measures, it's connected with transaction costs. So you need to find agreement between different types of beneficiaries. Partly it's mixture of residents and people who run business in the area and so on. And yeah, it's question of justice. It's questions of a distribution of money in the society and so on to find agreement between different groups. We studied a lot of examples from Austria, which has a lot of experience with such payment for ecosystem services, especially in flooding, in flood risk management, and it's long run it's a long run process to find the agreement. So it's take a lot of much more time than applying for subsidies and getting money from the another sources. So you need to take this into account by planning that you are not able to do it so quickly as by another types of sources. But as I mentioned, the communication in the initial step and providing enough information that all parties get some benefits from the implementation of measures, it could help. It's also experience from Austria, which I learned.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but a brief comment from me. There are unfortunately not many examples that we can show you when we discuss the public-private partnerships, at least for the Czech Republic and maybe for the European context as well, because having greenery and implementing green and blue infrastructure is still commonly perceived as a thing for public sector. And we just need to test more how to involve the private entities and the people from parts of the cities into the process. How we can bring them into the process and test it, testing the instruments related to payment for ecosystem services, testing the community initiatives, and all of that. We still don't have much experience on this topic to present and to inspire other stakeholders.
And and thank you. I will extract one question from the chat that my colleague Viorella has been posted, and thank you so much. She asks, have you also looked at examples of private-public partnerships blending private and EU funds? You know any good examples?
I know that there are some examples, but to mention some good example which are finished, I'm afraid to mention some of them because these I know are not finished. So, and I'm not sure whether it will conclude with some successful result or not. So yeah, currently, yeah. Better not mention any of them. So I know that there is a lot of initiative which seems that they could be successful, but yeah, from the Central Europe position, I don't know any of them which I can mention as finished and successful. Maybe you have in this field more experience than us. We are mostly involved in the economic assessment to provide the arguments and so on. And I'm mostly not by the end of implementation and so on. So we are mostly only as used for justification and supporting the implementation. So in a lot of cases, I'm able to learn whether it was implemented or not after a lot of years after we make the assessment and so on.
Fantastic. Okay, of course. Thank you. We need to wait a little bit more time. Yeah, of course. In some of the projects, yes. So if there are no other questions, should we wrap up and close the meeting? I have Anne-Marie Good from the Green Exchange Partnership. Anne-Marie.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for your incredible presentation. I have a question that is not to be answered in 1 or 2 minutes. I'm afraid it's maybe like searching for the Holy Grail. My question is, we see that the costs and benefits are for different stakeholders. For instance, if you have measures concerning flooding, then there's a benefit for insurance companies. How do we achieve that the stakeholders that benefit from measures start to pay and take responsibility for the costs and make them invest? It's a holy grail question.
Yeah. It's a very complex question, but for example, we learn a lot of in Albanian, Macedonian, or Montenegro, in which countries we have possibilities to participate on creation of insurance systems and so on, and also within this creating of insurance system, we discussed that it's necessary that these companies are involved in the implementation of measures and decreasing the flood risk, because without this, it's not possible to run, for example, insurance system in these countries when where for example, black drain caused damages twice in 1 year. So without any big investment and motivation, it's not possible to run some insurance systems. And yeah, so it's still a lot of work before us to motivate different stakeholders that they can profit from the participation on this payment for ecosystem services, such as the case of Vittel, which was one of the first and most famous on the world. But to present it and to provide incentive, we do it with some shop, with some supermarket in one middle-sized Czech city, that we are trying to provide a lot of analysis to the city, that in the case of changing the parking slots, and also to change the classical roof to green roof in case of One Planet supermarket, it could also bring additional benefits, financial benefits to the investors. Unfortunately, it was not successful, but yeah, it's a lot of works which it's necessary to invest in the education and providing arguments. It could be successful, but takes time.
And maybe a cost-benefit analysis can be used as a communication tool to start discussions.
Definitely.
Actually, we have done this. We use the cost-benefit analysis results to communicate for communication with the investor through the municipality representative, and it was and the investor said that this is these are good numbers, but we are not there is no need to implement by the law, implement the green roof and all of this stuff, but in our project it's not necessary by the law, so we just don't want to do it. So and of course nobody wants to force an investor by law to do it. So maybe the question should not be how to force them to pay, but maybe how to implement, how to involve them into the implementation, not just and to increase the motivation and to bring the investors into the process, and so this could be the start. But the cost benefit numbers are not the holy grail. The thing is more complex, as we all know, so we need to just take it from this perspective.
Thank you.
Maybe what could positively support the implementation of measures and the participation of different stakeholders is currently the promoting of ESG and EU taxonomy and this non-financial reporting, which more and more goes deeply in the process of the different companies and business to promote sustainable processes in companies and so on. So this could also create a new type of motivation to implement of measures and to be more active, also by partners which are currently not so active. But we are by another topic and going beyond the original topic of this webinar.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and of course, and as you mentioned, the ESG. I mean, there is also the social benefits of this. I mean, of the green infrastructure, of implementing green infrastructure in neighborhoods and cities, etc., etc. So this is another big area, right, for lectures and information. So yes, thank you very, very much. I think we've exceeded a little bit our time, but I think it's for the good. Are there any other questions, Mr. Polich from the city of Ostrava? And thank you so much for.
Thank you, Harris. I would like to thank the board lecturers for this interesting presentation, and we, meaning the city of Ostrava, are looking very much forward for further cooperation with this within this thematic partnership on green cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, the city of Ostrava, for taking the initiative to organize this very interesting webinar. I'd like to thank you also on my behalf of our two lecturers for the time and generous offer and great presentation, incredible presentations, and everyone that has attended and stayed here. I wish you all have a great day, end of the week and weekend. And stay tuned in our website, which I have posted in our chat, for more news, more events that are about to come. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thanks for invitation and nice day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.